Hi everyone, I'm Joanna and today I'm going to show you how to make this super cute hair bow. It's a sailor bow style with long tails and a clip on the back so that you can easily put it into your hair. And it is an absolutely fantastic project for using up scraps of fabric. For this project you will need 3 fabric rectangles. The first is 10 by 7.5 inches. The second is 13 by 6 inches, and the final one is 2 by 6 inches. You'll also need a spool of thread in a similar colour to your fabric, a hair clip of your choice. I like barrette clips and I'm using one that is 3 inches in length. And you'll also need a glue gun or some strong glue of your choice. First, take your 10 by 7.5 inch rectangle and fold it in half lengthways, right sides together. Give it a press and then sew along the top edge using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And make sure that you backstitch at the beginning and the end. Now press the seam you just sewed so that it's in the center on the back of the rectangle. Then turn the rectangle right sides out. Give it a quick press so that it's nice and flat with the seam on the center. With that seam on the outside, put the short sides together and sew again with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now press that seam you just sewed and turn it to the inside of the rectangle loop that you have. And you're going to give everything a quick press again. All this pressing does really help to give the bow a nice professional looking finish. Next, you're going to fold the bow, ensuring that the folds are nice and even. I start by folding the top towards me about 1/4 inch, and then I repeat this a few times until the rectangle forms that bow shape. The fold should resemble a folded fan or an accordion. At this point, I take a sewing clip and I use it in the center of the bow to hold it in place whilst I get my thread. Next, take your thread and wrap it around the center of the bow to keep the accordion shape in place. Keep a long tie at the end so that you're able to tie a knot once the bow is staying in place. Then tie a double knot and cut your thread. And you should end up with something that looks like this. Now onto the second rectangle. Once again, fold in half lengthways, right sides together, and press. Now you're going to draw a mark 2 inches away from the short end on the long raw edge of the rectangle, and draw that mark on the other side too. Now join that mark to the bottom corner of the rectangle with a line which will be approximately 3.5 inches. Now cut along these 2 lines. If you're a maths nerd like me, you will recognize this shape as a trapezium. The top raw edge should be 9 inches long. Make a mark at the 4 and 5 inch mark. You're now going to sew along the 3 raw edges, pivoting at each corner, and you're going to leave that 1 inch gap in the middle of the long edge and make sure to backstitch at each end of that gap. I find it's really helpful to put 2 pins on either side of the gap just to remind yourself to stop sewing. Now trim down the seams and turn through to the right side through that small gap that you left. Use a turning tool or a chopstick to poke out the corners. And of course, give it a good press. Now pinch this shape together like you did for the bow with that 1-inch gap at the top. Wrap thread around like you previously did for the bow to keep it together. So now we have these two pieces, and soon we will be able to put them together. Now for the final rectangle. Fold it in half lengthways, right sides together, give it a good press, and sew along the long edge. I forgot to trim the seam down here, but you should totally do that to reduce bulk. Now take a loop turner and turn the tube through to the right side and give the tube a good press afterwards with the seam you just sewed in the center. Now get your spool of thread again, and for the last time you are going to wrap it around both the bow and the tail to secure them together, tying off with a knot at the end. To make life slightly easier, I actually just cut a length of thread from the spool of thread to do this. And look, we are almost there. So now heat up your glue gun or grab your stronghold glue. Apply a small dot of glue on the back of the bow and place the small fabric tube that you just finished making right side up. Wrap the tube around the bow as many times as necessary to keep it tight. Here I'm just wrapping the tube around the bow once, but with other fabrics I have wrapped twice. Cut off the excess fabric, fold over the raw edge of the tube and glue down with another dot of glue. And the final step is to glue on your hair clip. I put a small amount of glue in the middle and then hold down the clip firmly to make sure that it stays there. It's also worth saying here that you'll want to check which direction you want to put your hair clip on, as most just open on one side. I like mine opening on the right hand side from the back of the bow, as you can see here. Once I'm sure that the center is firmly stuck down, I put 2 more beads of glue on each side and I press to ensure that those firmly hold down. And once you're sure that the clip is firmly holding on to the fabric, this is what you'll be left with. And this is what the hair bow looks like from the back of my head. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you found it useful and subscribe if you want to see more sewing tutorials. And I will see you in the next one. Happy sewing!